Well, you would think, right?
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio, along with your host, Brian Smith, and
Carrie Smith,
giving you all the late-breaking news of the week, wrapping it all up, making sense of it all, setting you up for the week to come so that when you go to work, you see your friends, you're at the water cooler, you know what you're talking about. And when they say something that's a lie, something that's ignorant, something that just don't make any sense, that don't make no never mind, you can call them out if you feel like it, or you can walk away knowing you're right.
and you know, sometimes you can't do that. So what's on the agenda this week?
Well, we do have a lot of, we haven't talked about this one in a while, and I don't want to make this show about bashing Hillary Clinton. We can make this episode about exposing her a little bit more because she's come out this week. But things have been coming out throughout the past few weeks and again and more and more and more. But we could sit here and bash her all day long. We could bash her all year long. We could talk all about Hillary Clinton all day long until there's blood coming out of your eyes.
Or wherever.
Correct. And so when that happens, you probably start to turn us off. If Rush Limbaugh talked about nothing but Hillary all the time, I'd get tired of it.
Well, especially since, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Hillary is just such damaged goods. That is there.
Whoa.
Was that sexist?
Well, what do you mean?
Oh, wait a minute.
Whoa. You need to pull the e-brake.
I know that sounds like I'm objectifying women, but you got to be a woman first.
Whoa! Eject. And the light's flashing red.
So, anyway. No, I mean, she just seems like, at this point, doing any more bashing of her would just be piling on, I guess.
Right. No, I could see that.
Even Democrats are like, dude, where's Bernie Sanders? We're just going with him.
Well, this week, leading up to this week, a lot of the media and a lot of the Democrat Party have been in, not a tailspin, but a lot of media has been reporting that the Democrat Party is starting to question whether Hillary should or should not be their candidate, based in part to all the scandals that are going on, all the things that surround her right now, everything that's starting to bubble up and come to a head. But they doubled down this week. Democrat Party came out and said, yeah, Hillary's our man. Our whoa man.
Well, at the very least, we could say that she is the Democrats' damaged goods.
What difference at this point does it make?
It doesn't. It doesn't make
any difference. And I think that she has made that abundantly clear.
Right.
And we've probably beat that down, and so has everybody else.
Right. So Hillary and Trump descended on Iowa at a what did they call that? Oh, a fair. I was going to say a pig roast. I was watching a clip of Rosie O'Donnell just a minute ago.
Whoa! Oh, no, you didn't. Wow, you can't put lipstick on that. No. You cannot. No. So
where's Sarah Palin when we need her?
Oh, man.
Call in right now. Speaking of that, we have the call-in line for those of you who want to contribute.
Oh, we do have it hooked up. I'm like, well, where is it?
We are in a underground secret bunker,
right.
And the call-in line is
high atop something,
and the call-in line is underneath the bunker.
Right,
Gotta
right.
keep it top secret. So the call-in line is 772-49-SMITH. And I couldn't afford SMYTH, so we had to go with S. No, I'm joking. That's a joke.
You got to spell it out.
772-49-SMYTH. Just like
Okay.
the show.
There you go. And you should know this. So anyway.
Absolutely. Should be on speed dial and should be number 2 on
Yeah, you don't-
speed dial
you should
because
not
number
need-
1 is your
911.
no, it's your
Mommy.
your voice. I don't even use it anymore. Who uses voice messages anymore?
I don't even leave voice messages because I know how much it's going to annoy the person I'm talking to that they have a voicemail.
Yes.
Oh,
And the little one doesn't go away until you go to voicemail and listen to it. At least on my phone.
The little icon.
Yeah. Like, how do I get rid of that?
Right. Yeah.
Well, they've got the text to voice,
right.
which
you
is
could do that.
really interesting because a machine left me a message.
Oh, no, it didn't.
It was mistranslated, and part of them, it was like a whole paragraph. And part of it was something that says, "I need you, I love you, something, call me at your earliest convenience." I was like, what?
That must be your wife, right?
You would think.
I would think.
But it came from 888
What?
555.
No, it didn't.
5555. So I couldn't even call it back.
It was your boss.
Right.
Like, wait, I just got a text from you. Can you explain this?
Hey, it was voice to text. It's not my fault, man.
His
Lost in
in translation.
So they both descended upon Iowa, and Trump apparently browsing around, him hawing, rubbing elbows with the locals. He, I told you a couple of weeks ago, he was in Ireland, and he wanted to give his helicopter up for free helicopter rides.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Oh, yeah, and they blew up on him. The locals said, no, never. And he's like, yeah, they bashed me over the head. They said couldn't do it. And they interviewed the lady who would give permission, and she said, well, we never give him permission to do that, but I don't even remember him asking.
So he was coming with a helicopter.
Well, the famous helicopter that's black that says gold Trump on the side.
Oh, okay. And
Right.
he was going to give people rides.
Free helicopter rides. Yeah.
Okay. Seems kind of gimmicky, but okay.
Of course he's flashy, he's
That's the whole
showy.
thing. That's
Right.
the thing. What kind of gimmick can we come up with?
So he goes to Iowa and he gives free helicopter rides.
Okay.
So all the kiddies were running to the helicopter, gold letters, Trump, Trump.
Right.
He's our man. If he can't do it, my daddy can.
Okay.
That's what they were screaming.
Okay. So what happened then?
Well, Hillary ascended. And
Ascended or descended?
Descended. She wants you to think she's going to ascend.
And she's going to say it whether it's true or not. And we know that whatever comes out of her orifice is going to be
They said,
not very true.
They said she was so uncomfortable, and it just...
Who? Her or the people that had to listen to her?
Everybody was like she had an entourage, and people were walking with
You mean
her.
they had, what's her name? The Wiener's wife?
Uma, Abaddon, Huma.
Okay. So that's her entourage. That's it.
Right, not Hillary. Oh,
No, that's
just
Hillary's.
Hillary.
That's Hillary's entourage.
And everybody else with her are paid-in stand-ins.
Well, they could be Secret Service too, kind of rolling their eyes and doing the loud sighing.
Now, I know Secret Service follow former presidents. What about the president's wife?
Oh, certainly, yeah. I mean, they're still following around Chelsea,
I think they're trying to keep her out of trouble.
even though she calls them pigs.
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a teenager. What are you gonna do?
So I've got... she gave a speech, and I've got a couple sound clips on Hillary. One is this speech that she gave to apparently Democrats in Iowa. And
Her 3 people that are following her.
right, and she talked about Benghazi.
She did. She said the B word.
Oh, she did.
Oh, that's pretty brave. I got to give her a little tiny bit of credit.
She also talked about emails and servers.
Whoa. So at this point, she's in desperation mode. Like, I got to take care of this.
You know, I really do. I think so. The clip's a minute and some change long, but it's I might stop it after because her voice is just so.
Ooh, she's got the cackle and the...
It's like nails on a chalkboard.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So let me roll this and see what you think, how you feel she came off to her base.
I'll give you my interpretation of it on the fly. First time I'm listening to this.
in being elected president.
Because
this is her presidential
we
speech.
need to tell our listeners what to think. Right. That's what happens, right?
Right, exactly.
I mean, we are a low information education program here, so,
we got to give it out.
Yeah.
That's the fight we're in. Now, they'll try to tell you this is about Benghazi, but it's not. Benghazi was a tragedy. 4 dedicated public servants lost their lives, and we have to be focused on how to prevent future tragedies. But let's be clear. 7 exhaustive investigations, including by the Republican-controlled House Armed Services Committee and the Republican-controlled House Intelligence Committee, have already debunked all of the conspiracy theories.
Okay, stop. Okay, they've debunked all of the conspiracy theories.
Brian, you're going to have to help me out.
Does that mean that the things that are true haven't been debunked? Because there's conspiracy theories and then there's fact.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, there's fact.
What conspiracy theories is she talking about? Is she trying to say that okay, there could be some really, really obscure... what's that guy's name that's kind of crazy? The right-winger that all about conspiracy theories. Talk show
Rand
guy.
Paul?
No, the talk show guy. And, anyway. I don't
Coast to
care.
Coast with George Norrie?
No, not
Dude,
that.
he is about conspiracy theories, though.
No, that's what the whole show's about.
No,
he doesn't even try to hide it.
Who has a 6-hour radio show in the middle of the night? George Norrie, Coast to Coast.
That's right, he does. So, and I'm going to tell you something right now. If Spreaker let us do 6 hours, I think we'd probably do 6 hours.
Would it be through the middle of the night? And would there be conspiracy theories involved?
We don't need that.
We don't.
We don't need this.
What I do love doing is I love talking to you when a new conspiracy theory comes up. Because I'm very likely to slip on a banana peel and lose my balance a little bit until I just get enough of it. I'm like, where's Carrie? Somebody get him on the redial.
So
Carrie.
So what do I why is that so interesting for me to hear it? Or to respond to it?
It's because that when we talk about it and I start throwing things out, like I'll intentionally try and sell you on it.
Right.
Knowing that you're going to come back with a debunking
I could either completely
argument.
debunk it or say, well, you know what? It could possibly be true. I mean, but I'm not going George Norrie on you.
They said Sandy Hook is still up in the air. They're saying those kids are all still alive and walking around.
That was the Sandy Hook. They had a massacre. Yeah, I'm not buying that one.
They came out this week and said something again.
Oh, the people that have gone with that conspiracy theory, they haven't been turned the other way.
Right. Well, but what's amazing?
They're like, produce the bodies.
Right.
Why can't you produce bodies?
The big one that got me was there would have been gallons and gallons of blood. There was no cleanup crew.
Hold on. Do you know how much blood is in an adult body?
Well, they're saying there was no cleanup crew, and the entire school was completely demolished, leveled, and removed within weeks.
That is true that they did demolish the school, which I'm kind of like, I don't know, I got mixed
opinions
opinions on that. But.
I know. I took 4 hours one Saturday afternoon.
I don't
slipped down that hole.
But no, the thing is I don't look at the demolishing of the school as proof of a conspiracy theory.
No.
Or anything. I look at it
So
like,
why?
well, they have these little tiny kids who were there,
Right?
and then there's a tragedy, and then you're asking them to go back, and I think they get this crazy theory. I don't know if it's some people say no, you got to do that. You're sending the kids back into the environment of the terror and all that.
Ironically, this just popped in my head. There's a good friend of mine who lost his son, who he died in the bathroom where they lived at, and they had to move.
Oh,
because every time he actually found his son, and so every time he walked past the bathroom, it's just this painful flashback.
So then there is justification for rebuilding a $23 million school.
Well, that and contractors and jobs. They created some jobs.
Yeah, well, there is a silver lining in all of this.
Oh, so painful.
That the union is going to get money to funnel through to the Democrat Party.
The union is our silver lining.
Oh, jeez.
God bless them.
Oh, man. And Planned Parenthood.
Hey,
right?
but whoa,
Hey.
whoa! I'm not going Barry Barack Hussein Obama.
I'm just repeating what I hear. And that's all I can say.
From the president and leader of this country. Right.
That's right.
Okay, so conspiracy theories.
Okay.
Is there one?
With regards to Benghazi? Well, here's the thing. I never... Everything I've heard about Benghazi...
There is one.
Well, yeah, okay, so you're saying you slipped
There
down that
is
rabbit hole.
one major conspiracy theory. One.
I want to hear... I may have heard it already if it has any popularity at all, but...
A no-named, no-faced, no-personed filmmaker started it all.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. Interesting.
And she said it was debunked. She just said all the conspiracy theories were debunked.
That's
So her conspiracy theory.
She's the one that created that conspiracy theory. Wow.
Breaking news on Smith Radio. Call in right now, 772-49-SMITH.
All right. Smith is spelled with a Y, by the way.
Correct.
S-M-Y-T-H for all of you new listeners. No, that's interesting. If we can get you on like George Norrie and you could start talking and we could go take a break for about 40 minutes.
I do have to visit the little boy's room.
For 40 minutes.
Wow.
Oh, if you've ever listened. I'll tell you what, we love joking about it. Wow.
We've got to get the best of sound clips from him and play a little George Norrie.
I want to get a compilation of sound bites of his callers saying after
Are you there?
After
Are
40
you still there?
after 40 minutes of talking uninterrupted saying are you there? And all of a sudden you hear George Norrie go, whoa, yeah, I'm here. You hear him running like the stamping of feet because he's probably got the linoleum, not hardwood floor, but
right.
Like how it is in like schools or whatever.
His kitchen.
You hear him running down the hallway, open the door and dive into his chair and crash into his chair.
And the door slams.
Right.
It's...
I'm like, I was here the whole time.
Every second.
And then in the background, you hear the toilet flush.
Oh, no. Wow.
So anyway.
Because he has a chair that is a toilet. It's electric and he drives around in it.
Or you hear him screaming on the way down the hallway. I'm still here.
Keep going.
No. I'm with you.
Flush the 6-hour show.
Well, he you know what? That's called being efficient with your time.
Right.
Time management.
Wow.
So anyway, Benghazi. Okay. So first of all, yeah, okay, that's a conspiracy theory, but you don't think of it as a conspiracy theory because it's what the State Department, the Obama administration, the official government position was that this was all started by some obscure filmmaker making a little YouTube video. I wouldn't even call him a filmmaker. It's like some guy in the basement of his mom's house who uploaded a video that he made with his potato phone.
Yeah, you said you saw it.
Yeah.
Was it really that bad?
We may have talked about this a long time ago.
We actually did.
Yeah, we've been on the air long enough that we probably went over this.
Phone. Yeah, you said... Whoops.
Whoa,
we were having...
technical difficulties.
Double
Wow.
feedback.
All right, so anyway... basically, I said, I want to find this video. So I started searching on YouTube, and I found what I thought was the video. So I clicked and played it. What I saw was clearly, in my mind, a parody, a really poorly done parody of the alleged video. Very, very poorly done. It was silly. It wasn't funny. And I thought, okay, what is this? And where's the real video? Come to find out, that was the video that the State Department and the Obama administration were claiming was the big insult to Islam that caused Benghazi.
Right.
And I'm like, I couldn't believe it. I said, this is a complete joke. And it makes sense to me when I heard that only 300 people had watched it at the time, that that it was announced that the video caused all of that mess, that it caused Benghazi, that they had only had a couple hundred views at that point.
Right.
So it didn't make any sense. But anyway.
Okay, so you want to hear the rest of her speech?
Is that the only conspiracy theory?
I think so. I
So
mean,
she
who was coming up with anything else?
Yeah, everything else I heard was mostly like bits and pieces of information that were possibly fact coming out, but nobody assembled it into... The whole thing about a conspiracy theory is you take facts that you know happened that you can't really connect because you don't have all the information, so you connect it all in some really wild, elaborate scheme with all kinds of ulterior motives and everything like that. That really wasn't done except for what you just said, the video.
Right. I mean, other than that, I mean, what we know, what we knew then and what we know now is that our embassy was under attack.
So let me ask
by
you
Muslims.
This. Let me ask you this. Could she be trying to say that the facts that have come out from, let's say, conservatives
Right.
that are trying to use it to put proper responsibility on the proper people, which would be her,
Right.
is she trying to say that all that they have been saying have been conspiracy theories? That's kind of what I was thinking. Like maybe she's trying to...
I think she was trying for it to come out like that. She wanted
to
her
believe,
base, right.
She wanted us to believe that everything that the conservatives have been saying about Benghazi were just these wild conspiracy theories, which, by the way, she's the inventor of the right-wing conspiracy, the vast right-wing conspiracy.
Right.
Back when she was a young whippersnapper first lady. And she was trying to defend her.
I still can't get over the fact that this woman was first lady for 8 years.
Yeah, and she, wow. You know, Rush keeps bringing up that, man, when it comes, when let's say she's the nominee and the gloves are off. That's it. Let's say she is it. There's no more primary. She is officially it for the Democrat Party. She is the one. And the gloves come off, there's going to be this big campaign by the right to start to expose to all these millennials and all these people that either weren't even alive or too young to even know or remember all the sex scandals that went on during her husband's entire political career.
It was a lie.
And I was alive back then, even though I wasn't as politically, with it as I am now. I never really thought of how much of an enabler she was in all this.
Oh yeah,
like she not only did she pretty much kind of turn the other cheek on everything that he was doing, but in some cases she was actively trying to destroy all the women that were throwing accusations at her husband.
Right. She was there in the middle of it all, and when a woman would pop her head up and say, "Oh, he raped me again."
Yeah, and there were other things.
And then she would scream back at her, "No, you're that kind of girl that wants that. So get away. My husband would never do that."
Well, but Rush is taking it a step further. You're saying that she's just being a wife that's going to stand by her man and defend him. What Rush is saying is that she knew it was true.
Okay.
And that she was just trying to figure out a way to save her husband, even though she knew it was true.
Wow.
Not that, well, I think you're lying. I think you're just trying to take advantage of the fact that my husband's famous now, blah, blah, blah. No. That she had been like, we knew that Monica Lewinsky was true, but all the other ones too. And there were other things too that we just recently found out. Like I just recently, not while Bill was president, but I just recently found out about how he was taking plane rides to remote islands owned by people, like private islands,
right,
where they were having underage
sex parties.
Yeah,
orgies. Yeah,
underage orgies with I don't even know if they would be friends or other political people or whatever. And he would go with them on these things.
It'd probably be somebody like some of the boys that Michael Jackson spent time with. He would give the parents money to allow their child to stay with him for a while.
Bill Clinton is on par with Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah,
wow.
But I don't think he was down with boys. He was just down with
Yeah,
little girls.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, anything. I mean, anytime you can have a credible story come out about a 40 to 50, 40-something, 50-something year old man going to these private islands wherever, and
14-year-old girls.
Was it 14?
Oh yeah. Just well, there was after he was president. Once he was finished with his 8 years, there was a very wealthy billionaire who asked Clinton to fly around the country. He'd provide his private plane, and he'd fly him around the country to different destinations to speak on his behalf or speak for him or his company, something of that nature. And so they set it all up, and within this is supposed to go for like a year longer. Mm-hmm. Within 30 days, this billionaire canceled it, reeled in the plane, said, no, we're done with all this, because Clinton was treating the plane as his personal debauchery, his personal bordello, if you will.
Wow.
And it was ruining the guy's plane.
I would have never in a million years guessed this kind of stuff was going on during his presidency. I mean, he became president when I was in, I think,
you should
10th
read about
grade.
JFK. JFK was almost, if not just as bad.
Right.
They said that if half of the stories are true about JFK, if half, that means that he spent not a night.
It's like the Wilt Chamberlain of presidents.
Right. Like he was involved. He had knowledge of
carnal knowledge
of one woman per day for every single day he was in office. If half
How is that
are
even
true,
possible?
they had.
At some point, you got to wave the BS flag.
You have to, but they had back in the day. They had these prep schools for young rich girls. There were colleges that would teach them how to be like a politician's wife.
Okay.
Or a rich man's wife. You sent your daughter to this school. And
It was like an etiquette school.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's for really wealthy kids.
Mm-hmm, right.
You would go to school in the hopes that your daughter would marry into a wealthy family.
Okay.
So
he may
your
actually look at that as being the green light.
They sent cars to those schools, and they would pick up girls and bring them to the White House, to the back door.
That can't.
And Jackie knew about it.
Oh, my gosh.
And Jackie did exactly what Hillary did. Well, except Jackie didn't destroy the girls. Jackie covered it. Jackie went to one of those schools as well. And she did what a good wife would do, which was to clear it all out and make up Camelot.
Okay.
She made up the whole story about Camelot. And how this perfect world and this perfect... No, lady.
How
come
come
on.
she gets to be the queen of Camelot for the most part?
She was still alive?
Well,
She
no, I
was-
mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing about the Democrat Party is that they want to. Their dream is to turn America into a monarchy,
Nor go back to the kings and queens.
right? And you have people like Disney that are actually propagating this onto our children by coming out with all these, movies that teach our children how the benefits of monarchical rule, princes, princesses, kings, queens, and they're always the good guys. They're always they're the nicest characters in the entire movies. They're just, and they're just everything's perfect with them.
You can call me a bad person. I don't care. I have given my daughters the information, and I've shown them what monarchies do.
Oh,
It ain't no good. I said, that's pretend. That's cartoon world.
it's not true though.
This is real world.
So what would be an example? Like, I would say, well, in the movie Frozen, you got the princesses that are in the big castle. What you don't see.
I never saw it. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So the woman,
Kids have watched it multiple times.
Right. The girl in Frozen has a sister. They're both the princesses of this. I guess it's a king and queen or something equivalent for that area. in real life that they were probably executing people on the regular for so that's the kind of stuff that they don't show in Disney.
For all intents and purposes, folks, if you allow someone to have control of your destiny, have control of any aspect of your life, you will at some point in time experience a lot of pain, because nobody knows how to take better care of you and your children than you do.
Right.
Nobody cares more about your well-being than you do. Your personal... Who loves you more than you? Unless you're one of those 26-year-old teenage boys in the basement and his mom's upstairs, and maybe she might love him more than he loves himself. But the point is, in general, seriously, I know what I want and what I desire. And I know how to go about that and take care of that and get that and make that happen. If I allowed anybody to take control of my life, they're going to go a different route. They're going to go a route that I wouldn't go, most likely.
So before we go far down the rabbit hole, do we have the rest of that clip?
Yes, here it is. Hillary in Iowa.
Not about Benghazi. And you know what? It's not about emails or servers either. It's about politics. I will do my part to provide transparency to Americans. That's why I've insisted 55,000 pages of my emails be published as soon as possible. I've even offered to answer questions for months before Congress. I've just provided my server to the Justice Department. But here's what...
Did you hear that in her voice?
I know. What was it?
I've just provided my email server to the Justice Department. Just so indignant, so arrogant.
Well, and she's being completely dishonest about everything. Sure, 55,000 completely worthless emails. What about the other 100,000 that are incriminating?
How many emails were on her server in total?
And how come? Why so long? Why is that the time you needed to make sure that you completely scrubbed that server clean? And
Trey Gowdy came up and issued a subpoena. She claimed she never received the subpoena. She claimed that maybe a month or so ago. Said, I never got a subpoena. And then Trey Gowdy came out publicly and produced it and held it up and said, this is what we subpoenaed you with. You got it.
But if they
and you signed it.
But what about they send out the little courier that says you've been served?
Yeah.
And if they don't say that and they don't hand them the paper,
right? And it's not real.
Yeah.
Right.
Then you were not served.
Correct.
But if you get them on video touching it and saying who they were, which Hillary Clinton,
right.
Yeah, I'm Hillary. I'm Senator Clinton.
I no ways tard.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, you awake in there? I no ways tard.
Oh my goodness! We need a toilet flush soundbite.
Maybe we could do that to every one of her sound clips. Okay,
there we go.
I just had to stop that because of her voice and just the indignation.
Are we sexist when we listen to that voice and we're just like, oh? No, I should say no, because there's a lot of women on the right that don't sound that terrible.
No, it's not sexist. It's because of her arrogant, lying, arrogant attitude. I just her attitude. It has nothing to do with her sex. I'm not bashing her sex. Now, if I was making fun of her and coming out with the articles that say that she and Uma are an item, so I haven't done that. But if I did do that, it could be considered sexist by claiming, because she spends a lot of time with a girl.
It's not sexist because if
real.
If they were both men doing the same thing, then you would probably say something similar.
Right.
So it's not sexist.
Okay.
All right.
No, I don't know what I'm doing.
But I won't do. I won't get down in the mud with them. I won't play politics with national security or dishonor the memory of those who we lost. I won't pretend that this is anything other than what it is, the same old partisan games we've seen so many times before. So I don't care how many super PACs and Republicans pile on. I've been fighting for families and underdogs my entire life, and I'm not going to stop now.
Okay, you hear the crowd? Did you hear that crowd?
Like 13 people made
Did you
it.
hear the crowd?
I heard all 13 of them.
Okay, fair enough. That had to have been a very small crowd.
She didn't fight, but you're talking about how she's going to fight for blah, blah, blah. She didn't fight very hard for those people in Benghazi, and everybody knows it.
No. Well, there's now some
She should be in
this week.
freaking prison for that.
Well, this week there have been more and more emails that have been found. Matter of fact, there was a company that was backing up those emails that has said that they've had their servers scrubbed, whatnot, and they were supposed to produce. Now they're under the gun, under a probe. They may be facing some criminal action as well. 90 she emailed and to dignitaries all across the world. 90 dignitaries across the world had emailed her back through her private server, and those emails are not found. They're saying
God.
90. You can go back to the people she talked to, when she's talking to the Ayatollah Khomeini. She was emailing him all day long. How come none of those emails to the Ayatollah are anywhere in this 55,000? We know you talked to him. You said you talked to him. But none of those emails are here, sister.
Oh, believe me, they are going to. It seems absolutely ridiculous, but in the game of politics, this works because the public is stupid. They're too stupid to follow up on it or to wave the BS flag,
right,
and to hold her accountable.
Well,
but they'll come out and they'll lie and say that they didn't receive the emails from the people that you say we received them from. They'll say, have you ever seen them? No. Can you find them? No. Well, therefore they didn't exist, because that's going to be our position. Unless you could prove that I'm absolutely lying to you, then I'm going to go ahead and lie to you.
Right.
That's literally, if I could translate what they say, that would be it. That, well, if you can't prove that we're lying to you, then we are going to lie to you. That's it.
Correct.
And that's what she's doing.
So this week, the FBI has filed this under a criminal investigation, which is one step closer. I know. It's so painful. But apparently, the FBI has found over 60 classified documents through the emails and the emails, which she said never happened, and is a clear violation of national security. And politicians up on the Hill are calling for her security credentials to be revoked.
Well, duh. That's like the first thing that should happen.
You would think.
Right.
You would think.
I mean, we're talking... there was a parade of people on talk radio all week who either called in or were guests on all the various shows that said, I had a top secret security clearance. If I did any of multiple things that Hillary did, I would be... The first thing they would do would be to go ahead and just lock me up in prison. That would be the first thing.
Right.
I'd be in prison first.
We're going to lock you up in your cell, be right next to that movie maker, the film guy.
right. The guy that made the movie that started Benghazi.
Right. Your cell be right next to him, so you guys will have a lot to talk about. While we do the investigation, you're going to sit there and rot. And we're going to tell the news media to put this out there that we're holding you under some type of probation violation.
Oh, there you go.
Which means... Oh, he's a bad man to begin with.
There you go. That he has a prior record.
He's a prior offender. Probation violation.
That means that you're in and out so much. Do you want the list? Do you want the list of all the reasons why we have him?
Right. So she's 60 classified documents have been found by the FBI. They're charging this as a criminal investigation, and I don't know how you keep a security clearance under all of this. I don't know how that's even possible.
I look at it this way. If you're the head of the security clearance department, I guess you got to have your security clearance, right?
You would think. You would think you would have a security clearance.
What you're asking is to ban the the president of Major League Baseball to be banned from baseball.
But he can stay as
commissioner.
He can stay as commissioner, but he's banned.
He can't
he can't go to any none.
That is ridiculous. None. He can't even watch games. He can't even turn on the TV to watch a game.
Wow.
I mean, that's kind of like what it is.
Yeah.
So
that's exactly what it is.
Oh my gosh.
So we can wrap Hillary up if you want. I'm kind of done with her. If you are a Hillary supporter, there's something really, really wrong with you.
Could you imagine her about to have a meeting and everybody be like, "Well, Hillary, you're going to have to step out because this is top secret."
Yes, they've got to. She's like, no, I've got my pantsuit on.
I put my pantsuit on one leg at a time.
Now that might be a little sexist.
Is it?
Maybe. Because I'm making fun of the fact that she wears pants. She made pantsuits famous.
Did she? I thought Murphy Brown did that.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Wow, that's a throwback.
Wow.
And
everybody's
pants, by the way.
Yeah,
and shoulder pants. Right, right.
And she's like, everybody on the show's like, Murphy, who?
You
What dude is that?
Google that.
What dude is that?
You know what? Interesting you say that. Now, she's the one that made pantsuits and shoulder pads famous.
Oh, wow. So, you know how Hillary has these changing of accents?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Seems like she'll do a different accent here and there and everywhere.
And it's painfully obvious.
I got a montage if you want it. I kind of put something together.
Okay.
Let's see how this goes.
All right.
I haven't listened to the whole thing and complete yet, so this is the first run.
Okay.
Starts with education. Education.
It is difficult to draw the lines between personal privacy, family privacy. But I think as a society, we've had more than enough examples.
You know, they've just been minding their own business and they got hit by a meteor. You know, I'm not sitting here as some little woman standing by my man like Tammy Wynette. Every time she called distraught saying her life was going to be ruined.
I think that is exactly where it goes.
Think so?
Right there in the middle on the top.
Good.
Looks great, Martha.
Questions come up, and we'll just keep doing our best to answer them, and hopefully it'll end at some point. I think that's only natural.
When I started this campaign, I'm not sure I knew quite what to expect. Lifting up our children with better education.
Education.
I hope you'll give me that chance.
You know, I happen to think that it is just totally off base. It's, so far out, it's hard to even understand and take seriously. But what people are talking to me about is not that. I got to tell you.
Charlotte had, whether they're living in rural Iowa or inner city New York or anywhere else.
We have to stay awake. We have a march to finish. On this Lord's Day, let us say with one voice the words of James Cleveland's great freedom hymn. I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy. I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. And we know if we finish this march, what awaits us. St. Paul told us in the letter to the Galatians, let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not lose heart. The brave men and women of Bloody Sunday did not lose heart. We can do no less. We have a march to finish. Let us join together and complete that march for freedom, justice, opportunity, and everything America should be. Thank you, and God bless you.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that was utterly painful.
Well, she came back and did her normal accent.
Right.
Interesting.
Right.
I actually heard that in context for the first time.
Well, it's amazing how when she's talking to a specific crowd, and I understand other candidates, other politicians will do that. They'll pander to a specific crowd, but I don't think that George Bush ever did that.
George Bush was very consistent in his Texan accent.
I don't think he could have gotten rid of that accent if he tried.
The Democrats said he was raised in Connecticut.
No.
Yes.
No.
He was raised in. His dad was
What?
a senator from Connecticut or something.
Bush?
Yeah,
Bush Senior?
Connecticut, right outside New York City. New York City. You remember that commercial?
I do.
It was about
Hot
that.
sauce.
That was a hot. Was it? It was salsa.
New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah, he was raised there, and now he's got the most Texan accent. You would think that he was
Well, you listen to his brother.
born and raised in Amarillo.
The Amarillo, folks. Why Amarillo?
I just wanted to come up with some really Texan town. Really, I mean, you don't want to say Dallas because that's where the people that did not grow up in Texas live.
No, and that's also where they filmed the TV show Dallas.
Oh, yeah. So Dallas isn't real, Texas-y.
Dallas is too Hollywoody.
Houston,
too oily.
That would be Dallas. No, that would be. Well, I mean, they got the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Hey, changing over. Just a quick update. Remember Bo Birddog?
Oh man, I could just strangle everybody over that.
Bo Birddog. Just to catch you up real quick. Army guy over in the Middle East, over in Iraq.
He was serving in Iraq, doing the combat tours, and he became friendly with some of the locals and just said, "You know what? I hate America. These people hate America. I think we should just get together." And so he deserted,
ran away, snuck out in the middle of the night,
completely went AWOL, deserted his post, and joined up with the Taliban.
And as soon as he did, all of a sudden, Taliban was able to fire upon specific locations that they had no idea about before.
Yeah, he was providing them with all the intel required to effectively fight. Before he got, quote, captured, and they knew he was captured. I think they had pictures of him or whatever.
Standing with the Taliban, holding guns.
Right. Well, no, that was later. But
Okay.
they originally said, hey, we got this guy captured. And they took pictures of him and made him look like he was a captured prisoner. But in reality, he joined up with them. So anyway, before he got captured, they were just completely ineffective in attacking Americans.
Right.
After he got captured, it was blatantly obvious to everybody in his unit.
And there were 6 guys that were commissioned to go find him.
Oh, that's right. When they found out he was missing.
Right.
When he came up missing, they were like, oh my gosh, we got to go out and get him. And I think somebody died in the rescue attempt.
Oh, yeah. There was a couple of guys who died during that search party.
Right.
Insane. So this week, apparently, the Army, through the lawyer of Bo Birddog, the Army is charging him with treason.
Oh, well, hello. Did we not say when he first was released, that's the first thing we should do?
Oh, but the reason why this was such a big story is because Obama rescued him, traded the Fab Five? Was it 5?
Was it the Dream Team or Fab Five? Because that's 2 different things. The Fab Five reference would be the 5 members, freshmen from Michigan University back in 1991.
Dream Team, sorry.
The Dream
Team. That's who we're talking. He released the Dream Team.
The starting line.
The starting
lineup of the Dream Team.
Yeah, for ISIS, the head guys, traded those guys for this one Bo Birddog, who is now back in Army hands and being charged with treason.
Thank you. And here's the thing. Obviously, what Obama did was just a travesty. By the way, what about those guys that are in captivity in Iran?
They're still there.
And then there's all those political...
John Kerry said not a meeting went by that we didn't talk about them.
He is such a liar. Honestly, I'm going to give them this pass. I'm going to say that I think they just forgot.
I think they really, really did forget. Absolutely.
Like, I don't think...
Because they don't care.
Right,
they don't care
That's
enough.
why they forgot. But I don't think that they were in some room somewhere, like away from Iranian officials, just them in the room saying, man, we need to figure out to do something about those 4 captives.
How do we bring it up? Can you like mention, like nudge me, and I'll be like, oh yeah, right, and you'll be like, oh right, and then we'll look at, and then we'll be like, hey,
what's the best way to bring it up, and then what do we say to try to get them? Is there going to be some sort of exchange, or what are we going to negotiate for it? I don't think this conversation happened at all. I think they honestly completely forgot.
Yeah.
And afterwards, when was brought up, how did you not get those guys? I think that they went back behind closed doors and said, I knew I forgot something.
It's like you leave the house and you're like, man, I feel like I'm forgetting something.
I got a story for you.
Okay.
So my dad and I were going to go to dinner at this place that he was close to, but I had to drive to him. And then we were going to park at the ride share and then go in one vehicle to save gas. So guess what? Afterwards, he has to drop me off at the ride share.
Right.
To get my car.
Okay.
We're like almost home on the way back. Almost home. And he was like, oh, we forgot that we got to drop you off at the ride share.
Oh, man.
So we had to turn around. That's what happened with Obama and Kerry.
Oh,
that's what happened. They forgot to drop Kerry off at the ride
share.
Yeah.
So this week, somebody had asked John Kerry about emails and Russia hacking, the largest hack on American government.
Oh yeah,
by Russia just recently, and John Kerry popped off and made a statement to the effect that. I'm sure Russia...
Well, the question was... It was a question. The question was, do you think that the Russians hacked in and could read your emails?
And he said, probably... Most likely Russia and China. He threw in China, too.
Yeah, I'm sure they read them all. Yeah.
Yes!
But you know what? We're living in an open society now.
I'm open. Are you open?
I'll open you.
Whoa! Whoa!
You
we've got that soundbite somewhere. Hey, you remember the Ferguson riots?
No. What was that?
Ferguson. On the anniversary of the Gentle Giant. These are just little tidbits.
This is so ignorant.
Well, apparently, information has come to light that somebody. We knew this all along, but somebody funded the riots in Ferguson.
Do you remember Remember the Purge? This was last year.
When we talked about the Purge.
Last year, I don't know if there was going to be a demonstration or the news. I can't remember what the news was of this particular day. But we knew it was all going to come to a head. Everybody knew. So somebody printed thousands of flyers saying that there's going to be a purge in Ferguson on that day.
Do you know why they printed that? Because someone funded all this to the tune of $33 million.
That's too much money.
$33 million.
You don't need $33 million to do that.
Oh yeah. Well, no, not just for
flyers.
Flyers.
I need to print up flyers. I'm going to need $33 million. Well, somebody's got to walk around and staple them to the.
All right.
You got to pay those people.
Well, there's an organization, Open Society, that was funded, that was given $33 million to this society, which did all this in Ferguson, all by none other than your friend and mine, George Soros.
Yeah.
Tax records. His tax records.
You know, I'd like to just throw this out there, and I'm sure I'm going to throw it out many times into the future. But everybody talks about the Koch brothers and big business and how they're the ones that are corrupting the right and the Republican Party, and that everything on the right is bought and paid for by companies, big corporations, the Koch brothers and whoever else is rich. At least... first of all, you can throw it out there, but that doesn't make it fact. And it could be. It could be. I mean, this could be happening. If it is happening, at least they're freaking American on American soil. The entire Democrat/Communist Party in America is funded by an American-hating foreigner named George Soros. Who's not just trying to push communism, which he is, but he's trying to destroy America in the process. And it's become a hobby of his to destroy countries. And of course, if you're a hunter and you hunt game, you want to bring down the biggest, most difficult and rare beasts, just like the people that spend $50,000 to go hunt a lion in Africa. George Soros, being a hunter of countries, he likes to destroy and kill countries so he could put them up on his wall, put the head of the country up on the wall.
Correct.
America is the lion. This is his... Oh my gosh, it would be... how psychotic does somebody have to be to look at that as being such an important life goal? To be able to go to your grave happy, knowing that you achieved the goal of destroying
total
millions
destruction.
of people.
Right.
Yeah.
Destruction and
that's what George Soros is. And he's not even American. He hates America, and that's the person funding the Democrat Party. So you can talk all day long about how, those conservatives are just bought and paid for by those rich corporations. Well, you know what? It's capitalism. It may be the fact. I don't necessarily believe it, but if it's true, at least they're American, and that you haven't shown me that they hate America and want to destroy America. Your party is funded by American-hating people who want America destroyed.
right.
Period. I just want to throw that out there when it comes to George Soros. So,
And what party does he belong to?
well, he's funding the communists on and the agitators on the Democrat Party.
Right. Oh, Democrat head, the girl, female.
Hillary Clinton?
No, the head of the DNC.
Oh, Debbie Walsh.
Yeah. She was asked questions, and she's still being asked to explain the difference between a Democrat and a socialist, and she keeps evading the question.
Well, she has to.
Right? You would think they give her part of the playbook would be some kind of quasi.
Well, with their record of lying, I would think that they would just give her something to say that is a lie.
Right.
Because at least then she can actually say that they're different. But,
right.
And I don't know if, like, historically they'd be different. I mean, the Democrats in the South back in the 50s and before. So, I mean, I guess in the past they probably weren't the same. But now, and when you hear socialist, I really don't get it, because socialism and socialists, that's not really a political entity. It's what socialism is it's the things that you do in order to take a capitalist society and turn it into a communist society. That's what socialism
right.
is.
It's a vehicle. Socialism is a vehicle to get
to communism.
To get to communism. Absolutely.
So when you hear somebody say that they're a socialist, they're basically saying, I can't see how they say that they're not a communist.
Well, but they'll say that, and progressive, but they'll say those words so that you don't feel negative towards, because if they said, "Oh yeah, I'm a communist,"
so communist,
you might have a knee-jerk reaction to pull back. So when you say
such a negative connotation,
right, and that's why they adopted the word liberal, because liberal in other countries and around the world does not mean what they are.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they got the label liberal.
They owned it for a long time,
and then they said, "Don't call us liberal," because the word liberal has been tainted so much. Pretty much, okay, let's just put it to you this way. People on the left are evil, vile creatures. So whatever you call them, you're going to see them in action, and you're going to say, ugh, oh, those people are horrible.
Right.
So the label itself becomes toxic based on the fact that it's associated with those people. So it doesn't matter what you call them. Whatever you do call them is going to become a toxic term.
Correct.
Just by osmosis.
He said osmosis.
So whatever, progressive, liberal, socialist, communist, whatever it is you want to call them, we're talking about evil, vile creatures. There's a lot of different names for the devil himself.
Oh, yeah.
Lucifer.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, and every word that you call the devil becomes a disgusting word. Hitler, Adolf. You can't even name a child Adolf anymore because it's like the devil himself.
You can't?
How many Adolfs?
Could you imagine?
There's hardly any Adolfs anymore.
Could you imagine? Wow.
Yeah. So anyway.
So I was scrolling through our clips, looking for
blood coming out of her wherever.
Yeah.
That soundbite.
Okay.
So the Trump on CNN was talking.
The Trump.
Yeah, the Trump.
Okay.
One of the talk show hosts had a problem because everybody calls him Mr. Trump.
Yeah, everybody does call him Mr. Trump. So what's the problem?
But they don't call any of the other candidates Mr. Hillary or Mr.
But there's a reason for that, though. The salutation is supposed to be whatever their highest thing was. So in Hillary's case, it would be like, not senator, what's her latest thing? The
Secretary of Defense.
Oh, secretary, yeah. So now it's Secretary Clinton.
Right. Okay.
So since Trump has never had, he was never a rank in a military.
No.
He was never a doctor like they called, even
Ben
Rand
Carson,
Paul.
they call him
Well,
Dr.
obviously Ben Carson, but even Rand Paul, they call him Dr. Paul.
Yeah. Okay.
So whatever your biggest title is, since Trump's biggest,
nobody else in the race.
You got to call him senator. You got to call him doctor. In Trump's case, you can only call him Mr. Or you can call him the.
I like calling him the Trump.
Or how about the?
The.
You can't
Trump.
say the because nowadays
the Ohio State.
Right. The word the means that there are others, but this one stands alone.
Huh. Because there are no other Trumps.
Right. So you wouldn't say the Trump. Because that would imply that there's other Trumps of note.
Well, would you consider wannabes or not? Because there's a lot of people that want to be a Trump.
Well, okay. Let's say Donald. And does he have children? He have children?
They refer to him as the Don.
Okay,
I'd like you to refer to him properly.
Well, let's say if Don, let's say if the Don comes with all of his family, he's coming to the restaurant with all of his family,
right?
And you're the guy,
maitre d'.
The maitre d', okay. And you're like, yeah, Trump's coming, and say his children frequent that restaurant regularly, and you'd be like, oh, it's one of his kids? No. The Trump.
Oh.
They're referring specifically to Donald at that point.
So he would be the Trump now because of all his... I mean, there's other people that have his last name.
Right. But
so we should call him the Trump.
Yeah, but nobody would ever think that if we ever used the word Trump that we were talking about anybody other than Donald.
Well,
You'd have to be the maitre d' of a restaurant that they frequent.
Make sure. I just want to make sure.
Ivana? Is that her name? Ivana Trump?
Yes.
Is that her name?
There were so many jokes about her name back in the day.
Ivana. Well, I mean, it's a common name in Europe.
Right. So he was on the CNN, and they were hassling him like they do about the whole Megyn Kelly thing.
Right. Because Megyn Kelly hassled him.
Hassled him big time.
Okay.
So I've got that little sound clip. If you want to play it to 38 seconds, we'll play a sound clip of him dominating a CNN talk show host. I don't even know why he goes to CNN because nobody watches it. I can only get these clips on YouTube.
Well, wait a minute.
Their ratings are going through the roof.
They probably paid him to.
That's
an investment.
That's where he's making all his money for his campaign money.
He said he's funding it himself.
Right.
So he's going around and saying, "Hey, I'll boost your ratings up."
And if your ratings don't go up, you don't pay. Right.
Bold statement.
If we went on CNN, their ratings would go up. Come on.
That's true. That's true. So it's not a bold statement.
Now, if he threw out a number, your ratings will go up exponentially.
Okay.
To the tune of 1 million viewers.
What if he goes on? This is brilliant. You go on Fox News first, and you tell them at the end of the interview that you'll be on CNN next.
Oh, dude!
That would be.
And I'm going to be talking to the CNN host about this, and this.
And I'm sure there's going to be fireworks.
Oh, I'm going to blow him up at 8 p.m. Eastern on Channel 6.
You're not going to want to miss this. You're not going to want to miss it.
You're not going to want to miss it.
You're going to want to miss it. All right, so let's hear it.
Here he is boosting CNN's ratings.
Get down, and she starts asking me all sorts of ridiculous questions. And, you could see there was blood coming out of her eyes. Blood coming out of her wherever, but she was, in my opinion, she was off base. And by the way, not in my opinion, in the opinion of hundreds of thousands of people on Twitter, because it has been a brutal day. In one way, a great day for Fox, and another day in the Twitter sphere, it's been very bad because she's been very badly criticized.
Let's take a look
She's a lightweight. I couldn't care less about her. In fact, you're competing against her, and I'm doing your show. That's interesting.
So he said that's interesting. I thought he said something else. He said you're competing with her. You're CNN competing with her, not the whole Fox station, because you can't compete with. You're competing. The whole CNN is competing with one talk show host. Okay, now that that's said, and I'm doing, and isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And you're talking about her, and you're competing against her. Isn't that interesting? By the way, I'll be on Megyn Kelly's show next week,
and
8 p.m. Eastern.
Tip your waiter. I'll be here all week.
Make sure you tip your waiter. Oh wow! So that,
you heard that was the infamous line where the entire world said that he was saying that she had blood coming out of her
eyes.
For the most part, private parts. Because she's a woman, and they do their once a month thing.
Well, no, but that's what they were trying to insinuate. However, I greatly disagree now that I heard it multiple times, because it sounded like, and when you're talking to somebody off the cuff like we do, and none of this stuff is scripted.
If it's not scripted and you start to say something that you just you get your wires crossed, then
I don't know where I was going with that. Okay, just wherever.
Right. And
I think that's exactly what he meant.
I would tend to agree with that.
That he just got to the point he was like bleeding out of her eyes. I don't know why you would say bleeding out of your eyes. So she's bleeding out of her eyes, bleeding out of.
Oh no, she said that I had blood shooting out of my eyes.
Okay.
She said that.
So
he repeated
bleeding out of her eyes, and then he wanted to throw something of his own, bleeding out of, I don't know, her ear. He should have said bleeding out of her ears.
There was another interview where he said he was going to say out of her nose or ears or something like that, and then he just realized, where am I going with this, and just said whatever.
Right. I can hear that in his voice.
But the journalists who want to lie about this in order to create ratings tried to get everybody to believe that he said bleeding out of her you-know-what.
Right.
There's a difference between the word whatever and you-know-what. And I think that they were trying to get you to believe that it was really intentional. And there was a big controversy about, I guess it was 8 years ago, 7 years ago, when Barack Obama said you can't put lipstick on that pig.
Right.
But like 1 or 2 weeks prior to that, Sarah Palin said that
there's a difference.
There's a difference between a hockey mom and a pit bull, and then everybody was a power pause.
Right.
And she said lipstick, and the place erupted. And so then a couple weeks later, Barack Obama was just talking about a bad policy in his mind. And then he said that you can't put lipstick on that pig, which is a very common. The common phrase is you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. That's the phrase. So he was playing off of that phrase. But honestly, and you know how incompetent he is.
Dude, that was written for him.
Well, it was either written for him or it was just a happy little coincidence. Because he's just not that smart of a person.
No.
Blood coming out of her wherever.
Her
Where?
you know what I'm talking about. You know.
So did you hear that someone completely irrelevant to society today, that probably if they fell off the side of the earth, nobody would ever know, miss, or care about them, got involved in this and helped
Try to
stir
boost her
it
own
up?
career.
Yes.
You got to boost her own career, right?
So Rosie O'Donnell came out. Well,
In her defense, her name was brought up at the debates.
Right. No, her name was brought up at the debate.
She's allowed to respond for 30 seconds.
Right. And so her response...
Oh, my gosh. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Everybody knows if you watch the debates, everybody got a minute to answer the question. But if during that question a name was brought up at the debate, that person whose name got brought up would have 30 seconds to respond. Wouldn't it have been hilarious if they said, on the Skype right now, we have Rosie O'Donnell with a 30-second response after Donald brought up her name during the... Anyway.
Wow.
Wouldn't that have been hilarious?
True. Yep.
That would... Where's Saturday Night Live? That would have been... That would have been the skit.
How is this not?
I should have wrote the joke.
Yeah. How is this not?
Copyright Smith Radio.
So, conservativefiringline.com, they put this up there. It was an article written by Joe Newby on the 14th, so just a couple of days ago. And this is what he writes. He said, Rosie O'Donnell, the actress who doubles as the prime example of liberal incivility. Nice.
Okay.
Made it clear what she would like to do to, quote, some people.
What?
Air quote, some people, when she called in to a Sirius XM radio station. Well, that's why I can't get the clip. I was scouring.
Oh.
Dude, who listens to... Okay, anyways. So she...
How are they not under like, completely bankrupt?
Government money. It's like the train station.
Sirius was the Howard Stern thing.
Right. It was XM and Sirius, and then they merged together.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, and the government allowed them to because they were both completely failures.
You can't be a monopoly if you have
You're
nothing. You have nothing.
Right.
Oh.
So apparently she called into a radio show called Just Jenny This Week. Oh, no, it's Just Jenny This Week. I guess she's resorting to call-in shows now. Like she's making the round.
Rosie,
she's
if you're listening, go ahead and give us a call.
772-49-SMYTH for your listening pleasure.
Oh, my goodness.
She also managed to prove to the world that she fits the description of, quote, disgusting pig.
Oh, which is, by the way, Donald Trump's words.
Parentheses, with appropriate apologies to pigs everywhere.
Oh, what?
Yes, he did.
Who wrote this?
Yes, he did. Joe Newby. ConservativeFiringLine.com. Okay, here is.
So it's a little biased.
Yeah, maybe so. Good guy. So here's her direct quote from. I was going to say from the show. I don't even know if it's a. Dude, we're on iHeartRadio.
Mm-hmm, right.
I mean, Just Jenny on Sirius. I mean,
it's not very serious.
No, they gotta pay for that. More people listen to iHeart than Sirius.
Oh, I agree with that. 100%. There's probably millions more that listen to iHeart.
So Rosie's calling in to some obscure radio show. Okay. So this is what she said, quote, I'd like to take my period blood and that I no longer have and write, you're all a boo hold, she said, and then she added, I'd like to smear it all over some people's faces.
That is so vile.
So it's more than just vile. So Breitbart commented on this, said, lucky for those in her crosshairs, Rosie has been very public about her battle with menopause.
I was going to say the same thing.
Breitbart said that.
I was about to say the same thing because she said
I didn't know she was that public about it.
Well, she said that she no longer has.
Okay, so apparently, yeah, what a sick, just a sick.
There's just no civility left.
No, none.
She's the queen of incivility.
You know, and I was, man, when we were at church today, the pastor was giving it was a good sermon, and it was about character and how our society gives no reward to people with great character anymore.
Yeah, there's no incentive for it at all.
Right.
I mean, I push it when I coach wrestling. I try, it's all about character and doing the right thing even when nobody's looking and all that stuff. And it's just, I think that they're just like, yeah, we know the line, we know the whatever, and then they just kind of blow it off.
Right. So another lunatic lib, Geraldo Rivera. Geraldo. Hey, is he still looking for that gold?
Who is it? Al Capone?
Yeah.
Oh, how do you do that? Oh, that's so painful.
For some of you young listeners,
this goes way back.
Geraldo did a live news.
It was like a 2-hour special building up to the opening of this
secret vault that they were digging underground that was Al Capone's special.
Yeah, Al Capone's vault. Right.
It was his secret underground bunker like the one we have.
Yeah, and there was a vault in there that apparently was locked or whatever. And so for 2 hours, they talked about Al Capone and his background and speculated on what this bunker was used for and what's inside this.
It's bodies, skeletons, gold, rubies, jewels, secrets,
and then
names, government officials.
2 hours of... It could even be Jimmy Hoffa's whereabouts.
Right. Everything. I mean... You want to talk about the conspiracies that were surrounding all of what could possibly be in there.
Right. So finally, after 2 hours of build-up...
Open the door! Dun-da-da-da!
They cracked it open, and there was absolutely nothing in there. And he just looked at the camera, and he realized he was toast.
How is he even still
I have no
around?
Idea. It's a charity case.
Didn't he have a talk show one time?
Yeah, it was. He might have been one of the originals.
Yeah.
Not Jerry Springer, but...
Do you remember what happened?
Oh, he got hit with a chair.
Yeah, they busted his nose. They broke his nose. And he got his face all up there live on camera, just gushing blood.
Yeah, and then for several episodes after that, he was covered in the white tape.
Because the show must go on.
Right. So he just whole entire front of his face covered in tape.
How does he still have that pedo stash, too?
I don't know. Because he's Puerto Rican, I don't know.
Something or other. So apparently he's on the 5 because Juan Williams isn't.
Okay.
And so he was on the 5 discussing Planned Parenthood. And then one of the show hosts on the 5, Fox on the 5, blew up and said, "I hope you live long on the backs of dead fetuses, Geraldo."
Because he was supporting abortion?
Yeah.
Man. Well, I mean, I'm glad.
And then Israeli Times, it's the local, it's the Israeli newspaper in Israel.
Okay.
Wrote an article calling him a Democrat, Jew, Iran supporting piece of, whatever.
Okay.
It just blew up on him. And they said, we apologize. We walked that back. That was a little harsh. It's just an opinion piece, man. Come on.
Opinion. It's just editorial.
Come on, bro. Whatever. Oh, so Megyn Kelly, I almost forgot. We got so sidetracked. Did you hear about... Well, apparently, the CEO of Fox News, who is not a very good man, and is lib, Democrat, he's...
Fox News?
The CEO of Fox News is not a good person.
What's his name? Murdoch or something?
Yeah. No. Rupert Murdoch?
Yeah.
No.
That's not him?
I don't think
Who are you talking about?
Starts with that. So anyways, he came to the table and said, "We've resolved it. It's done. Trump and I, that's truce."
I think it was Rupert Murdoch.
We're good. Was it Rupert? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. And
said, "Truce, we're good to go.
Yeah,
no problem.
Right. We're good."
Washed our hands, cleaned up. We did a little hug off. We all gathered in a room and did a big old hug off. Just bumping chest, being real men. Said, "Yeah." And they're like, whoa. So were you bumping chest with Megyn Kelly? They're like, well, She's taking a vacation.
You know, one thing I didn't say about the debates.
She
What?
is taking a vacation.
How long?
Announced this week.
I did not know this.
She's taking a 10-day vacation.
Whoa.
That's 2 weeks. In the middle of all this steam and fire and brimstone.
It's a staycation.
It's a
So, yeah, because she's not going to go out in public.
Well, you know why she's going. The CEO came to her and said, you know what?
We're
going to pay you.
I don't want to put you on administrative leave.
Right, we're going to pay you. Don't worry, you'll still collect your check. We need this to blow over. We've settled it with Trump. You did win. In our minds, you won. We love you. You're great.
I don't want you to hear, or I don't want you to accept anybody else saying any different. You won.
Correct. Now you need to take a 10-day vacation.
Yeah, and this is going to be your reward.
Yes.
We're going to reward you.
Matter of fact, I've got 2 tickets to paradise.
Oh, my God. Where is the soundbite? Not the real song.
No, the soundbite for the Geico commercial he did. Yes.
Right. Oh, that was so
Dude,
bad.
that was so awful.
Yes. I'm really surprised that he allowed them to use that.
How does he do that?
Oh, that was painful.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, one thing I wanted to mention about Megyn Kelly, specifically about the debates, and she was one of the moderators, was she was very, very uncomfortable with the crowd. Every time that they started to cheer or boo, she got really, really upset. Like she's so used to doing everything in that closed studio where everybody is dead silent and it's her and she can focus on the task at hand, the person that's in front of her, or maybe a couple of people.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Wow. Did you hear what happened to him?
Did he have a stroke?
No. My daughter just started taking singing lessons. And, you know, she's young and she's never done it correctly. She just sings whatever. And she told me that one thing that kids do that you have to learn not to do or avoid doing is they tend to sing until they're completely out of breath. And then they and then they have to take a pause to take a breath, and it's just it sounds awkward because they're inexperienced and they're not good at it. So what we teach them in singing lessons is to find good spots to breathe in and then continue singing.
Guys, pack your bags, we'll leave tonight.
It's next month, actually.
Paradise.
No, 4. Remember?
Listen, right here.
Whoa.
Right there.
No, that was no good.
He had to take a breath before the last 2 notes.
It's no good, dude.
Yeah,
no good.
So what? So I need to have my my daughter's singing teacher go ahead and give him a call. Maybe give him a lesson.
Hook him up. I mean, it's late in the game.
Because I even asked her. I said, "Well, what about the really being way off pitch?" She's like, "No. One thing at a time. You got to start at the beginning. Just work on the breathing."
Okay.
So I could say to her, well, what about what's this guy's name again?
Eddie Money.
Oh, Eddie Money. So Eddie Money, he's like
Get
totally
2
off
tickets
key.
to paradise.
Totally
baby.
off
Come
key.
on.
I mean, at least use auto tune or something. But that's not even the least of his problems. It's all about the breathing.
Oh.
So anyway,
so Megyn Kelly,
going
to paradise for 10 days.
Is in front of all those people during the debates, and you could tell every time they would start to cheer, she would go, okay. And she would start looking around herself in a circle because they were surrounding her. And she would go, okay, people. Okay. All right, people. Okay. She was very uncomfortable.
Do you want to know why? She's used to having complete and utter control in her show.
Yeah, and she just couldn't control these people. There was even a moment where she bit her tongue. I could tell. I knew exactly what she was going to say. She wanted to say, okay, these people are supposed to remain quiet while we do this, or not interrupt.
Right.
And oh, here you go. But then she bit her tongue. But I know that's what she was about to say.
Wow.
Yeah, she was very uncomfortable, and it came out in her questions.
It did. It was.
She wasn't angry.
Personal attack. No, it was personal attack.
Right. She wasn't angry about, let's say, Donald Trump and the question, his war on women or whatever she thought. She was getting angered by the fact that she couldn't control the crowd, and it just came out as a question. It sounded like a personal text. I think that's my theory, but we'll never know. My theory is that she was being irritated by the crowd.
Yes, and it wasn't going her way, and she lost control.
Right, and it came out as attacking the... It's like you have a bad day at work and you come home and you slap the wife. It's not her fault, but you had to vent on something.
Kick the dog.
Yeah, whatever.
Push the kids around.
Yeah.
You take your shirt off, you got a wife beater with mustard stains already on it.
Oh.
For those of you in Westwood, you know exactly what we're talking about.
But they don't come home from work, though.
She comes home from work.
Oh.
Right.
Wow. Yes,
and as soon as he sees her, he beats her or something, slaps her around a little bit.
She may actually beat him. She's got the wife beater on. You ever heard who wears the pants in the family? Now it's who wears the wife beater in the family. It's called a husband beater.
Right.
They're wearing a husband beater.
Wow. Man.
So anyway.
Oh, y'all.
So, as the title of the show is, Rush, Democrats' greatest enemy of America. This week, Rush Limbaugh.
Rush said something that I don't think he realized he said. And you say you have the sound clip?
I've got the sound clip, and we are going to, Carrie, we're going to elaborate for all y'all who may not have been listening to him, but we're going to elaborate on what exactly he is saying.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is as much as Rush criticizes Democrats and liberals and all that, there's always a line on everything he says where he doesn't tend to ever cross it. And I think what's the breaking news in this sound clip is I think he kind of, at the very least, was stomping all over this line. I'm not sure if he dove all the way across the line, but he was really on this line. And I thought it was remarkable that he went to this length in this response to a caller on Friday. But I just couldn't help but bring it up to Brian, and so he decided to capture it.
Capture that thing.
And so you could listen to yourself, and then I'll tell you what I thought I heard.
The Democrat Party is undermining this country. The Democrat Party is destroying the character and the foundation of this country. They have to be stopped.
So real quick, the question was...
From a caller?
From a caller. Why are you not criticizing Trump? And his whole thing was Trump has all these past a history of
skeletons in the closet.
Well, supporting Democratic causes, supporting Democratic candidates, and he's not a real conservative. Which it sounds to me like if he's not truly a conservative right now, and I'm not saying he always was. I mean, I wasn't.
They've been posting pictures of Ronald Reagan all over Facebook. He used to be a Democrat too.
No, there you go. There you go. So
comparing and contrasting. Well, they're trying to.
All right. Well, let's take it all the way to its general end. Here's the general thing about liberalism and conservatism. Children and young adults, especially ones that are not very wise to the world, tend to just gravitate towards the messages of the Democrat Party. It sounds correct to them. It sounds more logical. It sounds better. It sounds more truthful. It resonates with young, inexperienced children and young adults. But then, once you start to have to take responsibility for your own family one day when you get older and you learn more about the real world, about capitalism, about taxes, the role of government, and the role of yourself in your family, your family's life and in your community's life, you start to realize that the principles of conservatism is actually the right way to go. And then you can look back at your past of agreeing with the left wing as being, I must have been dumb back then, or maybe not dumb, but inexperienced, uneducated, and all that. And then all these other young whippersnappers that are coming up that are going through the same process you went through, you end up spending the rest of your life trying to steer them away from the path that you took, that others were unable to steer you off of. It's just something. It's very, very common. I think most conservatives were liberal back in the day.
Who said this? If you're not a liberal at 25, you have no heart. If you're not a conservative at 35, you have no brain.
Well, I've heard variations of that quote over the years, and I thought Mark Twain might have said
Sir Winston Churchill.
Oh, Churchill.
Credited for that one.
I thought Mark Twain said something to that effect, but I don't know.
Had a lot of quotes about liberals and conservatives. Show me a young conservative, and I'll show you someone with no heart.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of variations.
Show me an old liberal, and I'll show you someone with no brains.
There you go. I mean, there's a lot of variations on it.
Sure.
So the question was, why are you not criticizing Trump? And then of course, his immediate response was, well, can you tell me where I was criticizing other conservative candidates or Republican candidates?
I can't.
Yeah, he said I can't.
No.
And he was like, well, that probably answers your question. And then he went even further and said, and also for that matter, is there not enough criticism of Trump in the media out there? And then he goes into this sound clip, and so go ahead.
I'm going to start it from back from the beginning so they can hear it all, because that was just too good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Democrat Party is undermining this country. The Democrat Party is destroying the character and the foundation of this country. They have to be stopped. Jeez. Now I got people shouting at me. You want to know why you can't hear the people I talk to on the other side of the glass? Is because they're shouting at me now. And if you heard what they were saying, it was just unacceptable. Like they're shouting, well, so when are you going to take out X? As though it's my job to take people out. I'm not joking, and I'm not dodging, and I am not in the Democrat Party is the root of this nation's problems, top to bottom, and they have to lose. And that is what I care about. That is what I am interested in. That is what I am desirous of happening. So much I can't tell you how much I want it to happen. I can't tell you how important it is. That's what matters to me, the country.
I thought that clip was longer than that. At least when I listened to it live, it sounded like he went on for maybe 2-3 minutes almost. But you got the gist of it there. And what I came to realize, was it longer? Did you cut it down?
Yeah, it was longer, but this is our show, not his.
Right.
I mean, he can call in.
Right. Well, he's welcome to call in.
772-49-SMYTH.
Right. So what I realized was you gotta. I wanted to ask the question of Rush Limbaugh after that was, well, then would you take the logical next step, which I don't even think is a very big step, just one little nudge further.
It's not a leap of faith at all.
It's not much of a leap at all. Are you saying that the Democrat Party is the enemy of America? I mean, you flat out said that we have to defeat them because everything that they do and everything they stand for is hurting America, and from top to bottom is what he said.
Top to bottom, the whole decay of America, top to bottom, is the Democrat Party.
And he may have even said somewhere else, maybe not in that particular clip, but in the 3 minutes rant that he went on, that they're intentionally causing this, and it's destroying America, and for that reason we must defeat them. And by the way, you should save this clip because we're going to have to revisit it when, or if, hopefully it's an if and not a when, but we have a moderate Republican that everybody.
Could you imagine? Could you, for all you Tea Party folks out there that sat out in 2012?
Idiots.
Lucky I don't meet you. I'm a Tea Party member, and I'd poke you in the eye.
Right.
And you'd be bleeding out your eyes.
And wherever. You'd be bleeding out of wherever.
Wherever. Right. Because even though Mitt Romney is a GOP establishment, good old boy, John Boehner hanging around, Lindsey Graham hanging, I would have taken
Mitch McConnell.
I would have voted for Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell before I would
Obama.
be okay with Obama.
I mean, that's like saying, who would you want, Jimmy Carter or Joseph Stalin? I mean,
Jimmy Carter or the devil?
Yeah, right. You're going to take Jimmy Carter. I would vote for Jimmy Carter over Joseph Stalin.
Yes.
Right.
Green light, thumbs up.
Yeah. Or Vladimir Lenin. You would vote for Jimmy Carter over that. Obviously, Jimmy Carter is the second worst president in history.
Well, go for launch, because what happened after Jimmy Carter's 4 years, the pendulum swung back.
And I wouldn't vote for Jimmy Carter because
in the hopes of a swing.
Because that produces no. I would just vote for him because he would prevent Joseph Stalin from becoming president.
Right.
Come on, people. It was Barack what is it, red diaper baby Obama.
Yep.
And you wanted to sit out because you didn't get your hardcore Reagan-esque conservative Tea Party candidate. Right. Well, you know what? We have you to blame for all this crap, all the Obamacare, all of it.
What about garage? Gay marriage, we call it garage. What about the Obamacare? All the things that were handed down by the Supreme Court because Obama was threatening members of the Supreme Court with naked photos of them with children or something.
And then the Supreme Court, the people that he put in the Supreme Court under his watch. I mean, this is what you get. It's the most ignorant thing you guys did, sitting out. If that's what really happened, I don't know. I still think it was stolen, but there's our George Norrie moment.
We definitely had to sit out because there was less people that voted for. Less, as a whole, less people voted for him than did Mitt Romney than did McCain. More people came out and voted during McCain-Palin than came out and voted Romney.
Which is remarkable because I think that was a big problem with McCain is a lot of the hardcore conservatives were just like, oh my gosh, really? Plus, they were beaten down for 8 years by the media over George Bush.
Right.
And they were afraid to even admit that they were supporting George Bush or that they were like, well, the media tells me I'm evil if I do, so I better keep pipe down. And,
right.
Yeah, so you let them control you, and so thanks a lot.
Hope and change.
Hopey changey.
How's that working out for you?
Oh, my gosh. So anyway, yeah, but what do you think of that? I look at that, and I'm like, wow, he's pretty much indirectly, not directly, he didn't just flat out say it directly, but very strongly indirectly stating that Democrats are the enemy of America.
It's what I'm very desirous of.
And that's why I wish he had the whole clip, because he pretty much makes that pretty abundantly clear.
No, without a doubt. He went on, just making the point that we make here on Smith Radio every single show, every 3-hour show, every 2-hour show, every hour show that we do. This is our goal. This is why we founded this to even begin with, is because of Obama.
Well, we're fighting communist takeover of America. That's what it is. And I will never forget the time Rush, right after Obamacare passed, and he started to realize what this is going to mean now. He said, you could tell he was really emotional, and he goes, you know what I feel like? I feel like we lost the Cold War to the communists, and now we're in the process of them implementing the
regime takeover,
the policies, and the government that they would install had they defeated us in the Cold War,
right?
And that he's having to live through it,
right?
And that may sound like ridiculous hyperbole or whatever, but that's pretty much what happens when you elect a communist who hates America. I mean, it's one thing to elect somebody like Bernie Sanders, who claims that first of all, he is a communist. He's very open about that. But I don't really know. I would never accuse I shouldn't say never. I can't accuse Bernie of hating America right now. I could easily, factually say that about Barack Obama. He really, truly hates America. He hates the Constitution. He's flat out stated that he hates it.
Right.
That he hates
what's in his way.
He hates it. He also hates the founders of America. He was raised on the lie that they're racist and that they created slavery. When they say that America was founded on slavery, it's a 180-degree lie, flat out.
Right.
One of the lines that was that was put into the Declaration of the Independence that was going to be sent to England by the founders, that was taken out because of opposition from representatives of Georgia, was that that one of the reasons why we're going to declare independence is because you're doing all this thing with slavery, and we think it's appalling. And the only reason it was removed is because Georgia wouldn't sign on if that was included in the Declaration of Independence. All the other 12 colonies, they were like, yeah, that should be in there. So there were lines that were put in and taken out. You know, they were doing this whole voting process before they sent the Declaration of Independence to Great Britain, and that was one of the lines. So for them to say that America was founded on slavery is ridiculous. But anyway, so that would be one of many reasons why he hates America. So
also hating America is because
the problem is that I'm the President of the United States. I'm not the Emperor of the United States.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Isn't that amazing? He said emperor.
It's interesting. Why
he
not?
He didn't say dictator. He didn't say king. I'm not the king of America. I'm not the dictator of America. I'm not emperor.
It's kind of like a Japanese reference. I don't know.
But it's off the cuff. It's not scripted. And so it's got to be internal, because I personally, the word emperor, that doesn't come out. That doesn't roll out smoothly if I'm in mid-thought.
Well, what is the difference between an emperor and a dictator?
Well, an emperor, I would assume, just because of what emperors are, there's dynasties. There's like family lineage and the maybe it does have to do with words and has to do with that era, that area of the world, China. They call their dictators emperors.
Well, according to Wikipedia,
who we reference quite frequently, yet we do not claim that they are conservative.
An emperor, through Old French empereur, from Latin imperator,
yeah, the French are,
is a male monarch, usually the sovereign ruler of an empire. Or another type of imperial realm. And imperial basically means that if you ever hear of I'm sure you've heard the left call America imperialist.
Oh, yes.
That just means that your goal is to continue spreading and taking over.
I got it. That's why he said it.
Does he want to spread?
No, because they call America imperialist. Yet it's always on his mind that, it's imperialist America. However, he's projecting because he wants America to be an imperialist country, and he at the helm as emperor.
Okay.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. So I think it's projection. That's the reason why he said it. However, I think Michelle took him to the woodshed afterwards and said, bruh, it's king and queen.
What is?
It's not emperor, because emperor would be one man.
Yeah, it would be male. Uh-huh.
Okay, that's a problem for Michelle. It's got to be a king and a queen.
Well, I've heard of an empress.
Okay, but she's got to be king and queen because she wants half of this. She wants to be inclusive. And if he dies, the queen runs the show.
That's true. In America, it would be the next man in line.
Whoa! It would be the vice president.
Which could be a woman.
It could be a woman. And if the vice president was killed, it would be Speaker of the House? Do you realize during Bush-Cheney that we were 2 bodies away from Nancy Pelosi serving as President of the United States of America?
Do you have the soundbite of her laughing?
Nancy Pelosi laugh? Oh, I don't know. Nancy Pelosi is just
that would be a bad situation.
I don't
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
What was that one laugh that you have? It sounds like the Crypt Keeper. No, not
Dude,
like,
that is, well, technically, I mean, that's...
I thought that was her.
That sounds like her.
But it's not?
Ooh, no.
Really?
Yeah.
Every time you play it, I think it's Nancy Pelosi.
I know, but it may sound like her, but it's not her, and that's
Mr. Producer.
That's kind of a
desperately
problem.
searching.
Mr. Producer, we're hanging out for you. Wow. Whatever you think.
Do you think that a man's body is meant for penetration by another man?
Come on, Mr. Producer. What is that all about?
That was not Nancy Pelosi, by the way. Or maybe it was. I don't know.
No. But that woman also did this.
I thought that was Nancy Pelosi.
I did too, but it's not. It's the same woman who's former governor of the state.
Okay. All right.
But it does almost sound like Nancy Pelosi.
I thought it was. I always thought it was. You play that sound clip almost every other. Yeah.
I did. It's so creepy that the sound clip is just.
It sounds very creepy. Yeah.
And that was during her speech. She did it a couple times. But nobody
Dean,
does the Dean scream.
Yeah. The Dean scream.
Can you believe that ruined his entire run for presidency?
I saw that live, and I remember thinking to myself, "Ooh, this doesn't sound really that good." And sure enough, and it didn't just blow up. It was like it started smoldering, and then there was a little bit of a flame, and then by the end of it, it was a raging forest fire, out of control. It was out of control. Right. But I was watching it live. I'll never forget it. And it's interesting to watch something live that turns into a national firestorm, and it's. Because it's surprisingly slow. Because if you didn't hear it live and then all of a sudden it's all over the news, you think it was like, boom, it just explodes. But it doesn't. It smolders and it works this way. It's just like a house fire. If you show up on a house fire and it's just raging out of control, and the fire department's like, you know what, we're gonna let it burn out a little bit. Like they're not even aiming their hoses at it anymore. They're just like, we're gonna let it burn itself down a little.
Hey, we're gonna break the hoses out.
But we're gonna wait. We'll wait on it. Yeah, but just like a house fire that you just rolled up on, had you been there for the initial spark that caused it, you'd probably be pretty surprised at how long it burned before it got to that point. And that's how it was with the Howard Dean thing. It was like during the day, the middle of the day, for whatever reason, I was off of work, and I just had it turned on by coincidence.
That's amazing.
It was like Fox News, where since they have 24-hour news, it was like, Howard Dean's about to speak. Let's listen in on what he's saying. And then they would go to it. And at the very end, when he did that, I was just like...
And as soon as they went to it, they're like, okay, Howard Dean speaking. Let's listen. Oh,
did you hear that? Wow. That was his whole speech.
Right. Again and again and again and again.
It's one sheet of paper, and it has giant 72 font letters. Yeah!
A-W-W-W-R-Y-A-H-H-H.
I think it starts with a... Right. I think it's Y-E-E-E-A-H-H-H.
Okay, I'll buy that one.
Exclamation point.
So since this show is all about America's greatest enemy, the Democrat Party.
Yeah.
This is what the Democrats have given us: gay marriage, garage. And this week, you remember the whole guy who wouldn't bake a cake for the gay couple.
What, pizza or cake?
Cake. The pizza guy, they let off the hook because it's a joke. Who does a catered pizza to a wedding?
Well, have you ever been to the drive-through wedding window?
Yeah. So this is about the wedding cake guy, and said we won't bake a cake for your wedding. We did it for your kids and their birthday parties and your birthday parties, but now you want us to do a wedding? We can't do a wedding.
Okay.
Because technically, anyways. So court ruled this week the baker cannot cite his religion.
Why?
Because it causes discrimination.
So he says, I'm Christian.
Whoa. You cannot do that.
Let's walk through this. So he's going to violate the law here by using his freedom of speech.
Correct.
To say that he is a particular religion. That's a double whammy.
Double.
Because that's both part of the First Amendment. Two
Right.
different lines of the First Amendment. One's freedom of speech, one's freedom of religion. Double whammy.
By you claiming your religion of not baking a cake
out loud
causes discrimination.
It's amazing the
mental gymnastics.
Well, no, it's a technique. If you ask somebody 50 years ago, what do you think a lawmaker, a judge, or whoever, some official, some government official or lawyer, what could you do to circumvent the First Amendment of the Constitution without completely repealing it, or at least setting the ball rolling in motion in order to lead to one day abolishing the First Amendment? I don't think everybody would be like, what, did the Ruskies bomb us?
Right.
That would have been the only thing they could possibly come up with, that we got nuked.
Right.
But somehow the Democrat Party, the enemies of America, the enemies of the Constitution, of freedom, have come up with a very ingenious, clever way to undermine the First Amendment to such a degree that, number one, it's pretty much rendered ineffective, but also I think the ball is rolling to abolish the First Amendment, because they're going to say, or at least amend it so that it's the wording.
It causes discrimination. The First Amendment causes discrimination according to liberal judges. I was going to call them liberal psycho judges, but no, they're not psycho, because that's just their life. That's who they are. Liberal judges coming out of Denver, Colorado, which is the next cesspool of liberalism.
You know, my dad pointed out about Colorado, which is kind of interesting. That state is almost completely rural. It's all giant mountain ranges with just woods on mountains, and snow-capped mountains everywhere. And so it's almost completely rural. Well, if you know anything about politics, in general, you're not going to get too many liberal people that live in rural areas.
No, because they're dependent upon the government.
Who?
Liberals.
Well, right. When people in rural areas kind of live off the land, they're self-sufficient.
You're dependent upon yourself to live.
Right, and so they tend to agree with and support conservative issues, conservative causes. They're church-going and all that kind of stuff. Whereas people in the city, they just kind of were grown up in that more dependent on everyone else type of thing. And so they tend to gravitate more towards liberalism. But in Colorado, you got mostly rural, and you got this one city in the entire state.
Denver.
Yeah, Denver, because of its population, completely overwhelms the whole rest of the state and makes the state blue. And all the surrounding states, they're all red.
Same with Illinois.
Chicago does it for, and it's all about districting and rezoning the districts in order to make it so that whatever voting happens in the majority population of the inner cities ends up winning the election for that state that way.
Right.
But anyway, it's just an interesting thing that the idiot liberals within the city limits of Denver speak for the entire state, which is almost completely rural.
It's insanity.
It's crazy.
Healthcare.gov, the website. If you went to the website healthcare.gov to sign up for Obamacare, it's just now come out this week. No Social Security numbers were verified, and no citizen status was verified whatsoever to get free health care through Obamacare.
So if you hop the fence from Guatemala, up through the northern border of Mexico into America,
typed in numbers, they were going to have a Spanish website for Obamacare.
You have a little bit of experience about getting a illegal how an illegal person could get a Social Security number.
Oh,
I don't think anybody knows it's possible.
Oh,
I certainly didn't think it was.
Okay, there's a place called Huntington Park in California, and it's South Central. It's South LA. A little bit further. It's not quite Compton, but anyway, Huntington Park, little area. Everybody calls it HP. Go to HP. Everybody knows what an office is. You go in that office. You give them $120, and you walk out of there with a Social Security card and a driver's license.
And you're illegal aliens do that.
Different name, different
name.
Well, it wouldn't be your name. You'd have to take on. Well, it might be your name. I don't know. It might be your name.
Does it even matter?
No, it doesn't even matter.
Because you were born in another country, you could be anything you wanted to be, including your actual real name.
Right. So you use those documents to then go out and get a job.
Okay, that makes sense.
In L.A., there were a couple of times when I had a job and I was filling out my information for getting health insurance at a new job. They would come back to me, and I had other friends that come back to them too. They're saying, you already have a health care account with us. I said, no, I don't. I said, okay, well, somebody's using your information for the. I said, well, then you need to cancel that because this is me. This, straight up.
Right.
It happens all the time.
Oh, geez.
All the time.
So that's pretty much identity theft.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Downtown L.A., it says immigration office. But it's like a little shady liquor store looking thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real. And the big sign out front is hand paint. See, this is the cojones of these people. The sign is a 4x8 sheet of plywood that was painted white with a roller.
Okay.
And then they used a smaller roller to paint black letters on the front. It's just awful. I mean, you just know it's a shady place.
Okay.
That's what they do. You walk in there and you'll get papers. That's a big thing in LA. If you're illegal, if you're illegal, you don't have papers. That's what they call it, having your papers.
Okay.
So if you see somebody that's Hispanic, you say, "Tienes papeles?" I mean, do you have papers? Donde tu papeles? Where's your papers? And so if you don't have papers, you need to go buy papers, and they do. They go find a place.
Buy papers.
Buy papers.
So it's all about just follow the money at that point.
Yes, absolutely. Wow. Absolutely. Hey, something I forgot to mention about, just a little backtrack real quick. We were talking about Denver, and this triggered my mind. The small little Denver technology company that managed tens of thousands of emails for Hillary Clinton took Safeguard to hold on to her emails and now is being under the gun by the FBI. They're coming down on them. So there may still be a whole lot more.
So they're playing the cat and mouse game with these mysterious emails.
Right.
It's like 17 seconds of erased tape from Nixon.
Oh,
Nixon
yes.
Tapes. It's like 18 seconds or something like that of erased tape.
Dude, could you imagine if Nixon was still alive?
He'd be like, what the hell?
He's like, man, I gave up the presidency for what?
Yeah, well, that was back when America
had some kind of character.
Yeah, there was, when you do something like what Nixon did, you got to go. And people want you to go. There's pressure on you by the media because the media does their job. And then, of course, then Congress acts because Congress has a job to do. When you hear people say, we need to get stuff done in Washington. Well, the problem is people think that Congress's job is only to mass produce laws and that's it. They need to get into that law factory. They need to get in their cubicle or into their workstation.
Right.
They get into their workstation and they hunker down and they start to dig in and wipe the sweat off their brow. And they need to put in a 10-hour day, 50-hour week, put in that overtime and produce as many laws as they can.
To make $150,000 a year.
It's a law sweatshop.
Yeah.
That's what people think. And
base pay $150 a year plus perks, which means you don't pay for a car, you don't pay for gas, you don't pay for food.
And in some cases, for the rest of your life.
Right.
Even if you get voted out after 2 years or whatever.
And you have an automatic fund of millions of dollars to renovate your office.
Oh, my gosh. So you have a budget.
You have a completely open budget. Yep.
Slush funds. And
yeah,
all
that's
that
what they
stuff.
call it, slushy fund.
So people think that, okay, there's this factory that it's the Capitol, and that's a law factory. And people go in there, and they all go in a line and punch their little punch card, and they go into the workstations, they start working on laws.
Right.
And if the amount of laws pumping out of that place is not up to par, that the people should demand that the Congress get to work.
Right.
And that's not how it works. But there is things that they should be doing that is part of their job description. And one of them is to keep the president in check.
Checks and balances. And when
They're not
you,
doing it.
Boehner, McConnell, all y'all up there, when you give up your power to the president.
It's collusion as far as I'm concerned.
Correct. And you should be charged with something. A breaking violation of the Constitution, be removed.
Yeah.
So this week, the Planned Parenthood, which is all about the Democrat Party. I mean, it's Democrat Party.
It is the American Holocaust. I'm ready to wear a T-shirt that says, "Congratulations, you survived the American Holocaust."
I survived.
No, you. Whoever's reading this shirt.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Right.
Congratulations. You survived the
Holocaust.
American Holocaust.
So 3 states defund and 13 states investigate Planned Parenthood. Well, the White House, run by communist emperor, warns the states against defunding Planned Parenthood. The U.S. government has warned states moving to defund women's health group, Planned Parenthood, that they may be in conflict with federal law.
So it's, hey, we don't mean to be killing all these babies, but hey, the law is forcing us to.
Well, I
don't want to kill them all. No. If I don't kill these babies, I could get arrested.
Yeah.
Federal prison
law, federal law.
If I don't hack up all these babies, and I got to sell their body parts. I mean, it's my job.
It is your job.
That's crazy.
Insanity is what it is. And then, hey, just news around the world. Did you hear about the explosion that looked like Hiroshima?
Whoa. No.
Out in China.
Oh, I heard something was going on in China, but I didn't know. You know, it's China. You don't get a whole lot of details. But
well, not only do you not get a whole lot of details, but the government makes sure that details don't get out. But apparently this one couldn't get out. If you follow us on Facebook, Smith Radio on Facebook, you will see these videos that we put up every once in a while. See the information, breaking information we put up throughout the week. Unbelievable footage of huge explosion in the city, Chinese city of Tianjin. Looks like about it. It killed 43 people. Hundreds of people have been injured. The entire city. It's a warehouse of, I think it was. I'm not sure what type of warehouse it was. But the video, the footage of the city, they're referring to it as Hiroshima.
So what caused it again?
I knew you were going to go there.
I mean,
they're not letting it out. It incinerated cars from hundreds of feet away.
You know what China's really known for? What's the one thing that China just completely owns? What industry?
Fireworks.
Yes. I wonder if it was a giant fireworks factory.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, it was a chemical explosion, a chemical factory.
Well, what do you think that chemical factory makes?
Oh, fireworks.
They probably make the powder, the black powder for fireworks.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean that is their industry. I mean, if there's one thing that you could say, as far as industry is concerned, what is the thing that China's known? It's got to be fireworks.
Hey, jobless claims, weekly jobless claims came out this week. Number of Americans filing for first-time unemployment benefits rose to 275,000 last week. downwardly revised to 269,000 the week prior. Wall Street expects claims to hold steady. Yeah, hold steady around 270,000 a week.
Hold steady.
Hold steady.
Do you believe that?
It just sounds like a lot of people filing for unemployment.
I mean, is it going up, going down? You said it's holding steady.
At 270,000 a week.
That does sound like a lot.
I mean, dude,
more than $250,000 a week.
Right.
Well, the question is there more than $250,000 finding jobs every week?
No.
Well, then we're losing.
We're on a net loss. They're saying for us to come out of this tailspin that we would have to add somewhere in 350, 450, 500,000 jobs.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's just a nightmare.
Are we ready for lightning round?
You sure?
Oh, I don't know. We're in hour 3 now of the show. We just started. Just thought I'd throw that out at you. Couple things. Mark Cuban made the news today.
Okay.
I mean, not today. This week. When I say this, today. He wants to be a Republican, but he just can't because they got a big problem.
Okay.
Well, okay. Let me give you a little background. Mark Cuban, who is the big time. What show is that he's on? He's on that
Shark Tank.
Shark Tank, right?
It's Shark Week.
No, Shark Tank. That's where people come.
It's on this week.
Okay.
Shark Week.
Shark
Tank.
But no,
Shark Tank.
He has nothing to do with Discovery Channel or sharks.
Oh, Shark Week is something different.
Yes.
Shark.
Yes.
So there's no shark in the Shark Tank. It's just those guys.
Those guys are metaphorically sharks.
Sharks. Okay.
Right. So
It's
anyway,
not Shark Week.
For those of you low information voters, you know what Shark Tank is. So,
or Shark Week.
Mark Cuban is the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, and he became a billionaire when he sold a little website technology to Yahoo back at the peak of the .com bubble.
My eyes are bleeding right now.
Yeah, just to let you know how much blood is going to shoot out of your eyes and from wherever.
Right.
Let me just put you this way. When YouTube sold to Google bought YouTube, the biggest website ever. Google bought it for $56 million.
I'm throwing up right now.
Yahoo bought this stupid little website off of Mark Cuban at the peak of the .com bubble for $6 billion.
Okay.
The only thing that was special about his website, and I don't even remember what it was called, was that he had the ability to stream audio over the internet.
Okay, did you just get splashed with all the blood pouring
The
out of
blood
my eyes?
just shot everywhere. So anyway, that's Mark Cuban. That's how he became a billionaire. And since then, like right after that, he bought the Dallas Mavericks. And I always look at the .com bubble like this. There was money flying everywhere. And I look at it like a big, giant game of musical chairs where there's millions and millions of people all over the world. And if you ever played musical chairs, people go round in a circle around chairs, and when the music stops, you have to sit on a chair. Well, there's more people than there are chairs, so some people are going to be left without a seat, and if you are, then you're out of the game. That's how musical chairs works. So I always looked at the .com bubble as this giant game of musical chairs where there's millions and millions of people walking around, dancing around during the music playing. When the music stopped, there's one freaking chair. One chair, Mark Cuban got it. So anyway,
the company, despite its early critics, proved to be a smash success. Renamed Broadcast.com.
Oh yeah, that's
the
right.
firm went public in '98 and soon saw its stock reach $200 a share. A year later, Wagner and Cuban sold to Yahoo for nearly $6 billion.
There you go. Now, he may not have got the whole $6 billion because he had a partner, but wow.
broadcast.com.
He had enough.
How much did you have to pay for broadcast.com?
Back then, they probably got it for $1. Seriously.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, there was nobody was.
There's a store. There's a store down the street. Pip Signs. It says PIP.com.
PIP.com. That sounds like a tough one to get.
Well, we're broadcasting on Spreaker, a complete misspelling of speaker.
We might be cut off right now. So anyway, Mark Cuban. So he is good friends because when you become a billionaire, I think there becomes this billionaire club. I'm not bashing or anything like that, but
you're accepted. You're in it.
When you're a billionaire, you get to do things that billionaires do, and so you end up rubbing elbows with other billionaires.
Right.
So he's friends with Donald Trump.
Right.
So of course
he is.
Journalists were probably beating him down, like, "Hey, what do you think of Donald Trump?" So he said he would like to be a Republican, but he can't. I would prefer to be a Republican, Cuban wrote in a post which was flagged by the Dallas Morning News. I want smaller government. I want smaller government just like most Republicans. Put aside that I disagree with Republicans on most social issues. The Republicans have a much bigger problem that will crush them in every presidential election until this changes. You ready for this? It's gonna blow your mind.
I like this guy, but I'm starting to not like him.
Cuban lamented that those who disagree with the consensus, quote unquote, were called fake Republicans. And now here's his quote. The Republican Party requires that all their presidential candidates conform to consensus, he said. If you disagree with every platform of the party, not only are you called a rhino, a Republican in name only, you are considered unelectable in primaries and become a source of scorn on Fox News. That's a problem.
No, the problem is he doesn't understand. Rhinos are supported by the GOP. However, the party, us, conservatives in America, we don't want that. So Mark Cuban...
He has a complete misunderstanding of the entire party.
Correct.
Complete misunderstanding.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a rhino, you actually have a better chance at this point.
Right. So it's disheartening for... What's frustrating is that he won the lottery. And
he won the game of musical chairs.
Right, he won the lottery, the musical chair game. He won it, and now he's lamenting that there's poor people. It's social programs. Well, dude, take your $6 billion and go make a social program.
So Cuban also reflected on the meaning of leadership.
Wow.
Leaders don't conform to the consensus. They create consensus to their vision and goals. I mean, it sounds like he's talking about conservatives, right?
Right.
And that's like what Reagan did. Leaders don't change their positions mid-debate. They welcome scorn from masses because it creates the opportunity for dialogue. Leaders don't look backwards to condemn what has already been done. They look forward to create a better future. It sounds like this guy might be even a Tea Party guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Leaders are not dogmatic. They are principled and know that change is never easy, but when it's necessary, they must lead. The Republican Party does everything possible to discourage leadership. He's talking about rhinos.
Dude, he's a Tea Party guy.
I guess. They want dogma. They want conformity. They want to conserve their romanticized past. Now, right there, that's just a liberal propaganda right there. That's a shame. I wish they wanted to conserve the best of what America is today and find a leader that can take us to new places that make our future better. Now that sounds a little bit like progressivism right there. It's just it's not reality. I realize that's not the way politics works in our day and age, and that just proves the point. And by the way, I know a lot of the same can be said about the Democrats, but I don't want to be a Democrat, he concluded. Until things change, I'll sit in the middle and think for myself, unlike the Republicans.
Wow.
He just doesn't understand. You know what it is? He has fallen for the propaganda of the left in mass media, in the drive-by media.
Right.
He's fallen for it. And I'm not going to bash him too much because here's a guy that probably is so busy with all of his business dealings, he has to learn about politics and ideologies through drive-by media. He just gets little sound bites here and there, and he builds his view of all of this through those little sound bites. And that's the very definition of low information voter. And therefore, I'm going to conclude right here on Smith Radio right now that Mark Cuban is in fact a low information voter.
That's it. I mean, that definitely. I mean, you've got him lock, stock, and wrapped up.
No, I mean, he did it. He defined himself there.
So did you hear Australia is holding a day of prayer?
Really? No, I didn't hear that.
Australia to hold day of prayer and fasting for U.S. says the U.S. is falling into moral bankruptcy.
Moral bankruptcy?
Yeah.
Well, I could agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm 100% in
day of prayer and fasting.
But wait a minute. What? Australia. And they're saying this about America.
Yeah, y'all lost your way.
So they're fasting because we are morally bankrupt.
Lost your way.
Why do they care about us?
Because you lost your way.
We don't care about. I think
they care about us because, like Reagan said, once this goes, once this falls apart, there's no island left, none left.
Well, that's
whatsoever.
a shame that a place like Australia looks at another country and is like, that's the only place that's free. They're in another country. Yeah. They're looking over to America and they're like, wow, they may lose the status of the only free place on earth. You would think that they would be like, well, wait a minute, why can't we be free?
Right.
Which I think they are. I mean, Australia is they're pretty independent and free.
I would think
they
so.
probably have more freedom than America at this point. They don't have communism, and they aren't being overrun by foreigners.
No. Well, it'd be hard to get there too.
Did you hear about Netflix?
No.
Well, there's an article about them. They have paid sick and family leave to benefit everyone. So
I did hear about this.
They dominated the headlines this week, not because of any potential House of Cards spoiler, but rather because of what seemed like a huge step forward when it comes to paid leave. The employees of the company will receive unlimited time off during the first year after the arrival of a new child.
That is unbelievably amazing. However, it would be a tax write-off.
Okay, but
just let you know it's a tax write-off.
So you're saying that they might not either do it or be able to do it if it wasn't for the fact that there's a tax loophole in there.
Ding, ding, ding.
So if they removed this particular tax loophole, let's say you go with what Ben Carson said and do a flat tax with no loopholes.
Right.
Would this eliminate Netflix's ability to do something like this?
I would think so.
Right. Well, it turns out the perk only pertains to salaried employees in the streaming division only. So all those people that are throwing the actual disc around.
What? Why would they limit it to just one?
Because they can't afford to do it for anybody else. Employees in the DVD segment and in corporate customer service are not included in this benefit. The discussion around paid leave, a term that can encompass paid sick leave and paid family leave, is reaching fever pitch and in the national discourse. In January, oh boy, here's where we get the politics. In January, President Obama called attention to the issue during the State of the Union address, noting that the U.S. is, quote, the only advanced country on earth that does not guarantee paid sick leave or paid maternity leave to our workers. So here's what's happening. Netflix is a private company, right?
Right.
And they decided they're going to create a perk for working for them by offering this maternity leave.
Apparently,
or paternity leave.
Apparently they need those positions, and instead of paying more for salary, they're giving a higher benefit or a higher perk because that position, specifically that position, is very desired.
Right, and it's funny because sometimes you can get better candidates for a job if, let's say that you could put a dollar amount on benefits. Sometimes, let's say you have $100,000 to spend on an employee per year. Sometimes it's better to give them $50,000 in salary and $50,000 in benefits, sometimes it's better than to say, well, it's a $70,000 job and here's your $30,000 in benefits. So either way, it's costing the company the same, but people, man, if you can lavish them with all kinds of perks and benefits for working there, sometimes people look at that and they get fired up.
Right. I certainly, when I made my move to the different company, I looked at their benefits and how much more I'd be paying per week. Yeah. Well, not only that, the company I work for now, air conditioned. You kidding me?
Oh, right. Yeah, and there's a dollar amount put on that.
It's huge.
So Brian worked in a place that was not air conditioned, and now he works in a place that is air conditioned.
And
it's practically priceless.
Right, and every day I go to work when it's 100 degrees outside, and I have to put on a long sleeve shirt.
Wow. Wow.
And turn the fans off because it's too cold.
Like, man, I'm freezing in here.
All right. Hey, check this. Is something I was kind of battling with, and I didn't know how to take it, but Los Angeles and, the drought and all the water being gone because they live in the desert.
Oh, we go into that subject?
They took these shade balls.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
96 million balls.
And they're about the size of they look like, they're black, they're pitch black, but they look and
like the lawn bowling.
No, they're plastic and they float. I think they're like the balls, and they're about the same size that the kids jump in.
Oh yeah, you could see. Yeah, I could see that.
Because they look like they're really light because they float right on top of the water, and they have to be cheap. They can't be very thick because it'd be, first of all, you have to transport them there. So
they're like 45 cents a piece.
That's expensive.
96 million. They spent almost 30. I did it on a calculator. $35 million to put
a blanket of balls
on this reservoir.
And so all the water's covered, and I guess the theory is that it would prevent the water underneath from evaporating. It would be like putting a plastic bag over the whole thing.
Right.
But since that's not practical, dumping the floating balls in it would actually be practical.
Because if it rains, it'll get under the balls and fill it back up.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. Question is, if you fall into that, I think you drown.
Really?
Yeah. I think you drown. Because you wouldn't even be able to see where the hell you're going.
Could you?
It might be like a foot.
You don't think you could doggy paddle through balls?
Yes, but you wouldn't be able to see where you're going. I think it's more than a foot thick. Think about it. Your head would be just over the water, but completely submerged underneath black balls.
With all those black balls, I mean, that many black balls
surrounding your face.
Everywhere.
All over your face.
You couldn't see anything.
No, you'd be completely blinded by all the black balls on your face.
Just covered.
Well, so anyway, here's my thought on it, though. Tell me if this didn't cross your mind. I think a lot of people would not cross their mind, but I mean, is this drinking water?
Yes.
Okay, so have you ever had a cup of water that's been sitting in a plastic cup for like too long? Like, you end up getting a little bit of that plastic taste to it.
Imagine taking a bucket,
yeah,
like a Home Depot 5-gallon bucket, filling it up with water, and then putting black balls all on top of it, and let it sit there for a while.
For like weeks and weeks.
Let it steam.
I think that
get hot. Let it cook.
Okay, I would love to know what preventative measures they took to keep the plastic itself in the balls from leaching into the water, because you know that's what happens with plastic, and you can taste the plastic.
You would certainly, especially being colored plastic, clear plastic has less of a flavor, less of a taste, but being colored like that, those black balls will actually give off a taste.
I got it.
The black balls have flavor.
Imagine filling a garbage bag full of water, letting it sit there for a couple weeks, and then drinking out of it.
You're talking about a big black bag.
Yeah.
A black garbage bag.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know. I've never, I couldn't even imagine it with like one of those white kitchen bags.
But I could. If it was a white bag, versus a black bag. A white bag wouldn't have as much flavor as a black bag.
I don't even.
When I'm saying this specific, well, I've had to do things in the past. I'm not very proud of.
Wow.
But no, but whoa. When you have color added to balls like that are plastic, I mean, well, there's a See, to color something, you've got to add more chemical to the plastic.
That makes sense. But if plastic is a byproduct of crude oil,
correct,
I would assume that the black plastic would be
more crude,
natural.
More crude.
Would be it'd be natural.
Right.
Whereas the white would be something, well, we got to add something to it in order to make it white because it's from crude oil.
Bleached white bread has no flavor. Brown, black, rye bread has a lot of flavor.
That's true. But I mean, yeah.
Bread and plastic.
Well, did they bleach the plastic? I don't even. Somebody needs to call in from a chemical factory in the plastics, petroleum. Yeah, and tell us what's up. So, but anyway, no, I think that they're going to find out that this is a huge mistake because water is going to taste terrible. I think it's going to taste like you just drank out of a used garbage bag.
Right. 1.6% of U.S. citizens owned slaves in 1860 when slavery was at its peak. Yet that small 1.6% of rich plantation owners were able to convince the majority of Southerners to fight a civil war for a cause that only reduced the value of their own labor and pay. That's what liberals do. They twist your mind into doing stuff that you think that is for the good.
Yeah, and a minority of people somehow are able to pull that off, which in this case, a tiny minority of slave owners or whatever.
Right. Right.
Oh, boy.
Seattle passing a law for ammunition. There's a tax on ammunition, and they're saying it's a gun violence tax.
Oh, so they're saying that if you want to do gun violence, it's going to cost you. Because in order to do gun violence, you have to fire bullets.
Right.
So we're just going to tax the hell out of the bullets.
Because they're violent. The bullets are violent.
Well, the guns are violent. I mean, they will beat you up.
Right.
They'll make you feel bad.
Winston Churchill, I got another quote this week that I posted up of him. Some people regard private enterprise as a predatory tiger to be shot. Others look on it as a cow they can milk. Not enough people see it as a healthy horse pulling a sturdy wagon.
Who said that?
Winston Churchill.
Wow. That's pretty
insightful.
So, why is he killing tigers?
Whoa! Hey, speaking about killing tigers, this week I don't know where it is in my stack of stuff, but did you hear?
No.
They've resumed to going back and killing lions again. The heat blows off and they're back to killing them.
So
Nobody
you're saying
cares.
it was allowed in the first place?
Yep.
It was allowed?
Yep.
That's so this whole thing was a big sham. Wait a minute.
It's a big ruse.
No. There must have been something else in the news that they used that to cover up.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Oh, I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but you know that the dog waggers, the tail wagging the dog.
And if not, you should see that movie. It's a good movie.
The dog waggers clearly said, well, what about this Cecil the Lion thing? Let's just dump that on the public. That'll enrage them. That'll create the smoke screen that we need.
Because we know our rabid Greenpeace people. No, not Greenpeace. Who's the animal lovers? PETA.
Oh, PETA. Oh, yeah.
Our PETA people. We know that if we throw this out there, this will be meat to the lion. I mean, this will be...
PETA stands for People Eating Tasty Animals, right?
Whoa!
That's what I thought it was.
Whoa, no!
No?
Whoa, no,
I thought
no.
that's what that was.
PETA stands for Peace Enduring the All.
What is that? That's what happens when you have an unscripted radio show. Wow, the talent level at Smith Radio.
That was straight from the producer. That was not me.
He sent that to your computer screen.
I got nothing, people.
What do you read?
Oh man! People for the ethical treatment of animals.
Well, I knew that. I was just trying to make joke. People eating tasty animals.
I do like that.
Yeah.
I think I will go with that for now on.
Right. People eating tasty animals.
Oh, so wow. Oh my goodness. Wow, folks, it's been an incredible show. A lot of stuff going down this week. Stay tuned to everything going on.
And we'll tell you all about it. You can get all your news from us.
SmithRadio.com, Smith Radio on YouTube, Smith Radio on Facebook, Smith Radio on iHeart, Smith Radio on iTunes.
Set your calendar for next week, Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Because we're all over the place for you.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.